discussion day. Okay, right. So, quick recap on all our formulas as usual. This chapter is formula intensive, so let's have a quick recap. The first one we studied was all about current. Current is equal to Q over T. Number two we studied was voltage, which is equal to W, work done per unit charge. Then you studied Ohm's law, you studied V by I is equal to R. You brought resistivity into picture and you said R is equal to rho L upon A. This much you have studied, right? The topic that we study today is known as, okay, before this, let's also understand a basic circuit now. We are in a good position to understand the circuit. So this is our resistance in the circuit. This resistance can be a bulb or anything. It's basically the load. It can be a bulb, it can be a motor. Okay. सार्थक यहाँ से देख रहा है ना, वहाँ जाके बैठेगा, ढक जाएगा ना, यहाँ ज़्यादा रहूँगा. And then what you can do is that you put a voltage source to it. So this is my voltage source. My voltage source drives a current I in the circuit. This you should be very thorough with. Drives a current I in the circuit, and I goes across and comes back. Okay. And if you are interested to also know how the apparatuses are connected, the voltmeter would be connected in parallel to, I can connect two voltmeters also. This shows me what is the voltage across the cell. If you want to know what is the voltage across the resistance, you can connect a voltmeter here also. And we will always have an ammeter which is connected in series. So let's say this is your ammeter. Okay, so the ammeter will tell you current, and Ohm's law applies here. You can say if you know R, if you know V, you can calculate I. So V is equal to, V by I is equal to R. Okay, na? So V by I is equal to R is what we use. Today's discussion will be on equivalent resistance, one of the most important in this chapter, mathematics wise, and it is tricky. It is tricky. इतना आसान नहीं है जितना आप सोच रहे हो. So we'll study about equivalent resistance. Can I rub this? Okay, चलो. पहले equivalent resistance जाने से पहले कुछ मजेदार कहानियां सुनेंगे और चलेंगे. Topic of, I told you once I'll be explaining you series and parallel connections once again when the time comes. So right now we all know series connection is all about ringa roses, right? So how do you connect objects in series? Is just like ringa roses. So I'll not draw bulbs now because we know every bulb is a load and every load can be considered as a resistance. So देखो series connection किसे कहते हैं? Suppose you have a resistance here, then I have another resistance here, I have another resistance here. This is a series combination. So let me say this is a resistance R1, this is a resistance R2, this is a resistance R3. It is analogous to, if you still are unable to understand, it's like a bulb. A bulb has two terminals. So you are connecting, this is another bulb and this is another bulb. Okay, ये bulb को ज़्यादा अच्छे से समझिए तो समझ में आएगा. Now things to remember, things that you should remember. Okay, whenever you are having a series connection, whenever we have a series connection, in series, current remains constant. Current remains constant. पूरा चीज समझाएंगे आपको. And two, voltage gets distributed. And we'll have some fun stories also with it. Why these come, I remember them naturally. बहुत दुख इसके साथ associated है. Lot of sad stories. So once you get to know this, I was fascinated with electricity right from say grade 3-4, but in those days I never had the academic idea of it. So I could light up bulbs and all, but I did not know how these things happen. I just kind of put out the window and keep an eye whether it rains. If it rains, the water will come in. Okay, it will give you fresh. Okay, but I did not have the idea how things work. So by the time I came into higher grades and I started studying these, relating these were very easy for me because the practical knowledge was there, right? So understand about voltage gets distributed and current remains the same. इसका पहले trick समझते हैं. What is the trick all about? Say if you apply a voltage V across these three bulbs, and let's the three bulbs be of the same spec. What is the spec of a bulb? Spec means we'll talk about the resistance. Suppose the bulbs are offering equal resistance, then this voltage will be divided across these three bulbs, and you will get a voltage here as V1, you will get V2, and you will get V3. They will be divided such that V1 plus V2 plus V3 should be equal to the overall voltage. Did you understand? This is series connection. A story batayenge, don't worry. And if a current I is running through here, the same current runs to the first bulb, same current runs to the second bulb, same current runs to the third bulb. There is no change in the current. Okay? Voltage gets distributed. And I told you that these three bulbs are not dissimilar. They are same specs. Means their resistance is same. So one thing that should come in your mind is V1 in that case should be equal to V2 equal to V3, है ना? एक ही पेरेंट का जो है अफेक्शन तीन सिमिलर बच्चों में आप बांट रहे हो, तो तीनों को अफेक्शन बाय 3, अफेक्शन बाय 3, अफेक्शन बाय 3 बटेगा. ठीक है, समझ में आया? नाउ सी, नाउ यू शुड स्टार्ट थिंकिंग योरसेल्फ, Adya madam, is there an issue with the camera or something like that? Now you should start thinking that how are these Christmas and Diwali lights made? First of all, okay, let's try and make the Christmas and Diwali lights from this basic particular knowledge. Now, in our days, nowadays lights are made with a little bit more interesting technologies and a lot of microcontroller, and I will go with a very desi system. So my project work in my days, so we used to get what small bulbs like torch bulbs, and each bulb available in the market used to be, say, suppose a 6-volt bulb. As a 6-volt ka bulb milta tha. And then I used to keep on nagging at my house, mere ko is baar Diwali series banana hai, ye banana hai, blah, 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 blah. And then they used to say, okay, you get good marks in this, and we'll give you bulbs and all. So this has to be done. So where am I going to connect this bulb? I'm going to connect this bulb to the AC source. That is, the AC source is supplying how much? 240 volts. So normally, if I connect one 6-volt bulb to a 240, patas karke phit jayega. So much love the parent is giving that one child is unable to bear. So I need more siblings now. So let's have a plain calculation. 240 to be divided by 6. I get around 40. So I pleaded my dad, is baar mere ko 40 bulbs chahiye. And each bulb used to cost something around 2 or 250 rupees. You see, my dad used to make a face. Okay, so 80 rupees. 80 rupees those days is big. 80 rupees ka bulb aa gaya. Wires aa gaye, sab aa gaya. And I'm the happiest man. So what I do, I take my bulb 1, bulb 2, bulb 3, bulb 4, dot, and this is my 40th bulb. Okay, in bulbon ko kaise connect karta hu? Ringa, roses, and this terminal I bring out, and this I bring out, and I connect it to my switchboard. How much? 240, and this whole thing lights up. I am very happy. Each is consuming how much? 6 volt, 6 volt, 6 volt, 6 volt. But what was the cost of each bulb? 2 rupees or 2 rupees 50 paisa. So quality bhi वैसा ही होगा. So 2 hours of Diwali has not been over. एक bulb पटास करके पट्टू होगा. हो ही सकता है ना. Now you start and understand one bulb. So how is the current flowing? The current is flowing from this bulb going to the filament and again going here, right? So when a bulb blows, what happens actually? The filament blows. So your circuit has got disconnected. None of the bulb will glow now. So I used to talk very big to my dad, no need of buying, I'll make it this time. I have to show him techno-commercial feasibility. He'll say, we'll buy a series. I said, why are you spending outside? मेरे को दे दो, मैं बना दूंगा. तो 2 घंटे में क्या हो गया? बाजू बाजू सबके घर में लाइट जल रहा है, हमारा घर तो अंधेरा हो गया. ठीक है, लाइट तो gone. Now, what do? So, the tester I showed you. Now, you don't know that the first bulb will go. It may be that bulb number 37 has gone fuse. Bulb number 37. See how I learned it. 37 has gone fuse. We don't know which one has gone fuse. Now it's dark. What do? You take your tester, that same screwdriver, and you just out of random touch any particular bulb. How much voltage is coming? 240 is coming. अगर यहाँ पे tester glow कर रहा है, that means all these bulbs are okay. That's why the tester is glowing. After this, you jump across and go some 10-12 bulbs later and go and touch. You'll see that the tester is not glowing. That means fault is between this to this. This is called binary search. In computer programming, if you have done binary search, how do you ask a computer to find page number 67 in a book? You will say, divide the book. Look at the left side. Is it more than 67? In that case, discard the right side. Again, divide it. Is it more? Is it equal? Once it will be equal, that's page number 67. So by that you come in, what you do, you put your tester out here, you will say that the tester is not glowing, here the tester is glowing. मतलब ये वाला bulb तो मेरा fuse है. You don't get a, we should say in remote places, you don't get a bulb straight away, it's not there. Light to jalna hai. Now starts thinking, what I used to do, I used to take out this bulb and short the wire out here. How many bulbs I have now? 39. And all the bulbs again start lighting up. I'm happy, great thing done. Little did I realize at that time, knowledge to nahi tha na, these are 4-5 level jobs, okay, knowledge nahi tha. Now what is the calculation? Now the calculation is 240 divided by 39. Each bulb is now eating 6.15 volt. Quality तो अभी भी खराब है और 3-4 उड़ जाता है. Mr. Rajiv Rastogi 2 0 और कम कर देते हैं. Now say you have landed up with 35 bulbs. Now just see the calculation, okay? So you take 240 and you divide it by 35, you get 6.8. 6.8 is way above a bulb can take. So what has to happen? All the bulbs is to go away in one shot. It's just like shattered dreams. I mean, all bulbs gone in one shot. That day I realized, series mein voltage gets distributed na. I can never forget. Real life story hai. खराब हो गया अपने आँख के सामने सब बल्ब गया. And then ये सब लेके, and then you get angry and you throw it and you make your face and they'll say, okay, let's burst some crackers, कुछ भी हो सका जो है. And then my mother will say, candles are always better. All those stories will come up. Anyways, gone. So now do you understand what is happening in series? In a series, if one bulb goes, all will go. Even today, the rice lights and all that you have series, but the series that we have now, there are many series together. Therefore, if one series goes away, sometimes you will see in your Diwali light, when you put it in the next year, you'll see 1, 2 के बाद ना 7 जल रहा है. Basically, they take many strands and they twist it together. So if one bulb goes, it can never be one bulb fuse in a Diwali or Christmas strand. If one is fused, some more will not be lighting up because the whole set. That small bulb cannot take 240. Okay, so have you understood this basic concept? Okay, our job, what we are going to study now, is called to find the equivalent resistance. You must have written notes without understanding any jing bang. Is to calculate equivalent resistance of a circuit. Equivalent resistance. What does equivalent resistance mean? Say suppose I have a circuit which is having a resistance, another resistance, another resistance, and say n number of resistances, all connected in series. So we will be calculating equivalent resistance of a circuit once for series and once for parallel. So let's first understand the series combination. Are you able and comfortable now to read the series combination? The series combinations looks like this, where my resistances are R1, R2, R3, Rn, supplied by a voltage V, and the current of I is running in this circuit. Can I rub this side? Okay. Equivalent resistance means itna tamjham mat kijiye sir. Make the circuit simple. Make the circuit simple. So how to make the circuit simple? I will have the same voltage source V. Sir, can you think of one resistance which actually replaces all of them? I call it the R equivalent for series. This is what we are trying to find out. Make sense? R equivalent for series, when V voltage is flowing in the circuit, I is the current, we need to find out. So our job would be, how can you transform this circuit to this particular circuit? पहले समझो कर क्या रहे, समझ में आ रहा है? There are n number of resistances. All resistances are in series. We have to think of a circuit where we cannot have n number of resistances. We have only one resistance. Okay? टग ऑफ वॉर जैसा है, बहुत सारा बच्चा एक साथ एक कमर में पकड़ के खड़ा है. आपको एक सुमो रेसलर सोचना है जो आप उन बच्चों को रिप्लेस करके एक रेसलर लगा सकते हैं. Are we fine? ठीक है? Now how to do this? Okay. Now if V is the voltage, ये कभी-कभी derive करने भी आता है, हाँ? Derive is the most easy thing. If V is the voltage, then the voltage gets distributed in what manner? V1, V2, V3, and Vn. And Vn. Have you understood? The current across each resistor, because the current remains constant, so the current here also will be I, the current flowing through this also will be I, the current flowing through this also will be I, current flowing through this also will be I. Remember, current changes only when current gets an alternative path. Abhi current is like water. Me, any alternative path? No, me, no other path. If some path opens up, then only current can distribute. वो current distribute नहीं होता है. तो आइए, can I write, applying Ohm's law, can I write that R1 is equal to V1 by I? V by I is equal to R. Can I write this? R1. Can I write R2 is equal to V1 by I? Can I write it? Can I write R3 is equal to, V2 by I, V3 by I. In similar fashion, I can write my nth resistance as Vn by I. We are applying Ohm's law. What is the potential drop across each resistor? V1. So V1 by I is equal to R1. This we can do. Clear? Acha. Before we started it, we said that in series, the current is always constant and the voltage gets distributed. How did it get distributed? V1 plus V2 plus V3 plus ... Vn. Agreed or not? ठीक है? चलिए, अब ये एक्सप्रेशन से आगे बढ़ते हैं. So I write as V is equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3 plus V4 plus ... Vn. ये क्लियर हो गया आपको? राइट. बेटा V1 को क्या लिख सकते हैं? देखो तो I R1 लिख सकते हैं, इसको I R2, इसको I R3 plus ... I Rn. क्लियर? नो इश्यूज. इतना I है तो इनको बनाओ बंदर का भाई. एक I R1 plus R2 plus R3 plus ... Rn. Now bring the I this side. V upon I is equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3 plus ... plus Rn. Now put your eyes on this circuit. Put your eyes on this circuit. The same voltage V and the same current. If you try to look at this circuit और आप बोलो तो यहाँ V by I क्या है? Is it not the R equivalent of the circuit? V by I is equal to R equivalent. है ना? So this is my R equivalent for a series. In R equivalent of a series is R1 plus R2 plus ... Rn. Very simple logic. If 10 children are pulling in tug of war, the net adult who can replace those 10 children will be the sum of all the 10 children. Are we fine on it? इसको लिख लीजिए. इसके ऊपर बहुत सारे अभी will bring some more conclusions from here. Did you understand what we are trying to do? We have a series network in which we have a lot of resistances which are connected in series, and we start thinking, how do we simplify this circuit? In order to simplify this circuit, we need to first abolish so many resistances and bring only one resistance, which is known as the equivalent resistance. And what is the equivalent resistance in a series? In a series connection of resistances, the equivalent resistance is the sum of each individual resistance. हर एक resistance को जोड़ने से जो resistance आएगा वही series होता है. When you are done, let me know. I'll rub the board and we'll talk more on this. Red से मत लिखो. Red has the least pickup. You get a pen that's there. Why do you write with red and green? You should avoid. Reds and greens are only for highlighting. You wear specs. ऐसे ही चश्मा है और चश्मा लगेगा. मिटा सकते हैं बच्चा? Anyone? Piyu, Adya, Aparna, anyone who has not understood? All clear? Adya, what is the excuse today? A little bit temperature, more temperature, stomach is upset, fever. अच्छा. So I could not make it on time. हाँ, फिर तो सत्य वचन. मैं सोचा आज कौन सा, आज मंगलवार है, चूहे को बुखार है, ठीक है ना। चले आगे, इस चीज को और देखते हैं, आ जाओ। अब यहां से मजेदार मजेदार बातें निकालते हैं, और क्या क्या बात हो सकता है ये तो समझ में आया। तो आपका एक फॉर्मूला ऐड हो गया अभी ऑन योर फॉर्मूला लिस्ट। सो व्हाट इज द, यू अंडरस्टूड नाउ that the R equivalent, the equivalent resistance of a series network is given by the sum of R1 plus R2 plus R3 plus as usual Rn. Now some of the specific examples. इसका फायदा क्या है? Say suppose our friend Sarthak is doing a project, मेरी तरह है, and he needs a 200 ohms resistor and he doesn't have 200 ohms in his junk box. बाजार भी बंद है, आज ही चाहिए, लेकिन किसी और के पास जाके पूछता है, मुझे आगे पूछा, मैं बोला 200 तो नहीं है, 100 के दो है मेरे पास. So what he does, he is in need of a resistor and the resistor should be how much? Say 100 ohms. I said I don't have 100, Sarthak, I have 250s, and he says give it to me sir, I will solder them. He solders 150 ohm, another 50 ohm, so he's basically made an equivalent resistance of 100 ohms. This is the faida. And when we buy resistances, each resistance is 1 rupee or 80 paisa, is as on today's rate also. So you don't get resistances to your choice. When you buy resistances, it's just like, have you bought threads when you have a sewing kit? So many threads together. You don't know you'll need every thread, but it's a combo platter. So resistances are also sold as in Amazon, wherever you say, as a combo box. There'll be various forms of resistances, so you combine them the way you want. Okay, so we call it combinations of series and parallel. तो आपने सिर्फ सीरीज सीखा, अब इस सीरीज के कुछ और चीजें भी सीखते लेते हैं, ठीक है। सीरीज में कुछ और चीज देखते हैं. नंबर 1, let's talk about a series network. Now if you have a series network where say it's R1, okay, let's see a series network. So I have R1 as a load, R2 as a load, R3 as a load, and R4 as a load. All are different resistances, R2, R3 and R4, and I am connecting them to a voltage source which is V. V is my voltage source, overall voltage source. Okay, what does the first thing that comes about current to you? Look, if you connect resistances in series, I can replace this circuit very nicely with one single resistance, which is R4, sorry, R equivalent. Okay, I'm replacing it with one resistance which is R equivalent, and that resistance is this. Try to comment on R equivalent. Don't you think R equivalent will be more than this, more than this, more than this, and more than this? So in series connections, what happens if you connect appliances in series, the overall resistance of the circuit goes up, right? Earlier, suppose you had one bulb. Let's take some values, okay? 2 ohms, and let's make this as 6 volts. Okay, if you would have connected 6 volts only with a 2 ohm resistance, how much current can you expect in the circuit? V by I is equal to R, so I is equal to V upon R. Okay, V upon R, which is equal to 6 by 2, 3 amperes you can expect. So you can draw more current. In today's world, as consumers, we should be able to draw more current. जितना current आप draw करोगे उतना आपको फायदा है. Means the flexibility should be there. I can draw how much? 3 amperes from this circuit. Now, same circuit, you brought 2 ohms, and let's say all of them are 2 ohms. Okay, and let's say R4 is not there. Let's make our calculation easy. R4 is not there. Now, what is the total resistance of the circuit? Now just see. The total resistance is 6 volt divided by 6 ohms. You are able to draw only 1 ampere. So if you make circuits with series, you can write down this point. Circuits in series have more overall resistance, and as such, the current falls in the circuit. The current or value of the current falls in the circuit. Series circuits have overall more resistance, resulting to a fall of current in the circuit. Means if you have series circuit, if you make, it's your option whether you want to connect in series or parallel. अगर आपने series में कर लिया तो आपका issue क्या हो जाता है? आपका current fall कर जाएगा. तो इससे होता क्या है? ऐसा क्या हुआ तो हुआ. Now what is the drawback of it? If you are at your home and say suppose you want to run appliances like microwave, heaters and all, they need huge current. You won't be able to get that much current. You won't be able to get that much current because the current has dropped. So this side of circuit does not help me in my usual household. We'll see some more reasons. Another thing is today if you look at your plug points, whether this is in your bedroom, living room, balcony, kitchen, bathroom, every plug point is giving you how much? 240 volts. And every bulb or every appliance that you run in your house, every appliance is a 240 volt appliance. They consume different currents. They're all 240 volt. An AC is a 240 volt, a bulb, a table lamp, a ceiling fan, everyone is 240. It means everyone needs 240. Had you connected your appliances in series, none of the appliances will get 240 because 240 will get distributed. आपका appliance तो चलेगा ही नहीं. So in series, we will write all these points. This is one more point. Okay. Now the question comes, suppose you don't know all these things at all. So much of numerical is not known to you. And I ask you, in your home, are you using series connections or are you using parallel connection? What is the best way that you will answer me? The best way, by this diagram. You now know, I gave you one idea from my childhood activity. The answer lies there and in these diagrams also. Do you have series connection at your home or parallel connection? Parallel मान ले. क्यों? कैसे? वोल्टेज नहीं चाहिए. Simple example दीजिए जिससे layman can also understand. If the refrigerator goes off, TV को affect नहीं होता है. That's the best. If your इतना भी हाई-फाई नहीं सोचने से भी होता है. If your bathroom bulb goes off, it does not mean the whole house has gone off. See, in series, we are always dependent on a series connection. The connection goes this way, right? So if the current has to flow, the path should be continuous. Suppose this appliance has conked off, ये खराब हो गया. Then what will happen? The current will come only up till this. None of the appliance will run. So in series, before we get into problems, we have a discussion here called domestic wiring. Domestic wiring. How are domestic wiring done? And do we prefer series in domestic wiring or not? So in domestic wiring, we do not do series connections. We do not do series connections. Number one, because in domestic, what we always want one switch. Remember this is electrician's language. One switch, one appliance control. This is one. If you switch off that network, which I had just drawn, अगर आप सिर्फ किचन को ऑफ करोगे, सब ऑफ हो जाएगा. घर में ऐसा होता है. Have you understood? One switch, one appliance control. Second, one appliance goes faulty, others must work. Series does not support this. Series does not support this. क्यों हम series नहीं लगाते हैं घर में? Number 3, voltage across all appliances is not uniform. Today, whether you are running a toaster or you are running a computer or anything, everybody is getting 240 volts. You cannot get it because series में क्या हो जाता है? Your 240 volts will get split into V1 plus V2 plus V3 ... whatever it is. You don't get constant. And another one, overall resistance being high, this circuit does not support high current running or running of high current. Does not support high current. Does not support high current in it. ये चारों पॉइंट आपको समझ में आया कि नहीं? क्या वो क्वेश्चन आएगा? Why do you not prefer series connections in a household circuit? In household circuit, you need one switch, one appliance. Let's just understand it again. One switch, one appliance. How do you put your switch? Your switch is always like this, and your appliances are like this. इसको आप ऑफ कर दोगे तो किसी को भी लाइट नहीं जाएगा ना. Bathroom off, all off. Bathroom on, all on. Second, one appliance goes faulty. If this goes faulty, Then also, this is also like a switch. This goes faulty, none will run. Second, don't also think that, sir, if this goes faulty, these two should run. No, the circuit has to be complete. Circuit complete nahi hoga. Did you understand this part? Suppose the third bulb goes faulty. You might be thinking 1 and 2 will run. No, up to 1 and 2 current आएगा, लेकिन current जाएगा कहाँ से? Current has to always return back. Remember, it's a circuit. टेस्टर भी उसीलिए ग्लो करता है, पहले वहां से करंट आता है, टेस्टर टू योर बॉडी, फ्रॉम योर बॉडी टू द ग्राउंड. करंट ऑलवेज नीड्स अ रिटर्न पाथ. इफ देयर इज नो रिटर्न पाथ, ग्लो नहीं करेगा. ठीक है. थर्ड, voltage across all the appliances is not uniform, so this will run at a voltage V1, this will run at V2, this will run at V3. And fourth, one appliance goes, overall resistance of the circuit is high because this Req in this case is high. As a result, the current in the circuit falls down. Resistance, you know, remember that diagram. Resistance is always the villain. Resistance बढ़ा दोगे, resistance means choking. If you choke the path, the current from it reduces. As simple as that. Clear? इसके बाद प्रॉब्लम्स आएंगे. अब ये सीरीज की कहानी हुई. Now we need to go and understand parallel equivalent resistance. Are we fine? चलो मिटाई. चलो, और ये चारों पॉइंट याद रखिएगा. इनका we'll just get the contra points of these when we go for parallel connection. Okay. आइए, parallel combination. Parallel combination was what like children go to the assembly, right? Everyone holding the shoulder of one another with left arm on left shoulder, right arm on right shoulder. So let's say we take, हमने 3 ले लिए. You can take n, I have just taken 3. It all remains the same. Parallel means these are all connected together. Now to do it in style, we show the connection in this manner. You could have connected in any way. This is parallel, and from this terminal you will be driving the voltage. So let's say this is the voltage source, and you're driving it from here. Is it parallel? Yes, all of them are parallel. Okay, so V is the voltage, and R1 is my first resistance, R2 is my first resistance, R3 you can make it up to Rn, your choice. Now the current story changes. Look, a current of I starts flowing from here, और I यहां जाके क्या हो जाता है, I जैसे ही यहां से आगे जाता है, I को लगता है अब तो मेरे पास 3 रोड है, ORR है, सर्विस रोड है एंड पेबल सिटी रोड है, मैं किस पे जाऊं? तो बोलते हैं मेरे कुछ बच्चे I1 बन के जाएंगे, मेरे कुछ बच्चे I2 और बाकी हमारे साथ. क्लियर? अब जैसे I1 यहां से जा रहा है, बोलो I1 को I1 आ रहा है. अब यू आर नॉट थिंक लाइक I1, आई एम I1, I1, B, I1, again I come here. Means up till here I am what? I1 only. Up till here I am I2. Up till here I am I3. समझ में आया? मेरे तीनों बच्चे फिर मिलके यहां बन गए I तो स्प्लिट हुआ था, I1, I2, I3. तीनों फिर से मिल गए. So in parallel combination what we write? We write current gets distributed. Just उल्टा है इसमें. Current gets distributed. Number 2, जरा voltage देखो तो. अब voltage की कहानी देखो. Look, voltage is always applied across. Look at me. What is the voltage to R1? V. What is the voltage to R2? V. What is the voltage to R3? V. Voltage remains constant. इसीलिए तो घर में ये वायरिंग करते हैं. तुम लोग ना एकदम मतलब नामुरादो हो. ये देखो, ये देख, ये तेरा घर का वायरिंग है. तो घर के वायरिंग में क्या करोगे? दिस इज योर लिविंग रूम, 1 स्विच. बेडरूम 1 स्विच. बाथरूम 1 स्विच. ये ऑन करोगे तो कौन सा जलेगा? यही जलेगा ना, इससे कुछ मतलब नहीं. इसको जला के इसको भी जलाओगे तो दोनों जलेगा. ये अगर फ्यूज भी है तो भी करंट इसमें जाएगा. यही तो घर का वायरिंग है. ये 2 पीरियड में चैप्टर खत्म करने से थोड़ी कोई समझेगा. Hey, that's the reason that you know, and then there will be so many from your batch who will say I'm doing my BTech. इसलिए मैं अभी अपने आप को इंजीनियर नहीं बुलाता हूँ. I'm just a plain. I try to teach. शर्मिंदगी फील होती है, क्योंकि बच्चे को लव कैसे पैदा होगा, उसको कभी सिखाया नहीं। आर यू एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड? दिस इज योर होम डायग्राम, दिस इज योर बाथरूम, दिस इज योर बेडरूम, दिस इज योर लिविंग रूम। इसको ऑन करोगे तो सिर्फ बाथरूम ऑन होगा, इसको ऑन करोगे तो इसमें, ठीक है। सो करंट गेट्स डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड एंड वोल्टेज रिमेन्स कांस्टेंट। आर वी फाइन? सो आई एम जॉइनिंग बैक द सर्किट, अदरवाइज यू विल से सर दिस इज नॉट, सो दीस आर, ठीक है। तो आइए इसका इक्विवेलेंट रेजिस्टेंस निकालते हैं। सो व्हाट इज आवर टारगेट नाउ चिल्ड्रन? Our target is now to have the same voltage source V, but somehow replace it with one resistance, and the current I should run through it, and I'll call it the Req parallel. What is the equivalence resistance of a parallel circuit? All these three circuits go away, three resistances go away, and I bring only one resistance. ठीक है, शुरू करें। अच्छा, आइए, don't you think the current through this flowing through this is I3, yes, this is I2, and this is I1? Let us again start. Let us look at the resistance R1. What is the voltage through it? The voltage through it is V. What is the current through it? I1. What about R2? Voltage is V, current is I2. So you understood the story. इसके लिए ओम्स लॉ लगा के देखें, V upon I1 should be equal to R1. उल्टा करके देखें, I1 by V करे तो 1 by R1 आएगा। समझ में आया? इसके लिए उल्टा कर दे तो क्या आ जाएगा? I2 by V is equal to 1 by R2, और ऐसे करके IN by V करे तो 1 by RN. Who has not understood this thing? Anyone who has not understood? You want me to repeat it again? Okay, let's take, you know that this resistance value is R1. The voltage across each of these resistances V. ठीक है? I take R1 and I separate it out. I just want to study what are the parameters. Through R1, current of I1 is passing, and the voltage across it is V. Through R2, a current of I2 is passing, voltage across it is V. And similarly, if the same analogy you extend, Zoe, then through Rn you will find a voltage of V and a current of IN. Do you agree with me or not? Now apply Ohm's law for each resistance. Let's apply Ohm's law only for R1. V upon I is equal to R. So V upon I1 is equal to R1. V upon I2 is equal to R2. V upon IN is equal to Rn. Understood? Somehow what I did, I just made a reciprocal out of it. Why I made the reciprocal, I'll let you know. So that I1 goes on top and V comes below. So this also changes its numerator in R1. So tell me, I start my derivation saying that the total current in the circuit is equal to I1 plus I2 plus I3 plus ... IN. Are we fine? Now, this total I1, now what is the value of I1? I1 can be written as V upon R1. I2 can be written as V upon R2. Is it fine or not? This can be written as V upon R3 plus V upon Rn. Are we fine? Take V common out from here, it becomes 1 by R1. But in your notes, these notes must have been given. These formulas are not given, it has to be. अच्छा, क्या हुआ नहीं हुआ नो वो नहीं पता. Okay, this is beyond Ohm's law. Are we fine on this? Now bring the V this side. So this becomes what? I upon V is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3 plus ... 1 by Rn. Are we fine till here? Is it okay? Now look in this circuit. Look in this circuit. Can I write, so I apply Ohm's law out here, which is the equivalent circuit of this. If I put V upon I, what do I write? Req. And if I make the reciprocal, that is I upon V. अगर मैं I upon V लिखूं तो क्या लिखूंगा? 1 by Req. Right? So this expression can now be written as 1 upon Req is equal to 1 upon R1 plus 1 upon R2 plus 1 upon Rn. This is the overall resistance formula for parallel connection. 1 upon, याद रहे, उसमें क्या था? Req इक्वल टू R1 प्लस R2, इसमें जस्ट पाताल में घुस जाएगा सब, 1 by R1. Try to absorb whether you are mathematically satisfied or not. Once you have absorbed this, then let me know. We will go further with more interesting observations on this. Any step that you have not understood or anything, are more than free to ask. In parallel, it will always be 1 upon Req. 1 upon Req equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1. ठीक है? Rubbing. ठीक, ऑल डन. शेष मिटाओ गया, सो रहा है कि जाग रहा है? जबरदस्त रील वील डालता है आजकल तुम एकदम. आजकल तो बास्केटबॉल कोर्ट ही बास्केटबॉल कोर्ट है यार. बास्केटबॉल कोर्ट्स आर सो ब्यूटीफुल एंड नाइस. एकदम मुंडा कुक्कड़ कमालदार टाइप वीडियोस डाल रहे हो तुम. मेरे को तो मेरी जवानी याद आ गई तेरे वीडियो देख के. हाँ, टाइम में रील नहीं हुआ करता था बच्चा, है ना? हाँ, एकदम मुंडा कुक्कड़ कमालदार. ठीक है, चलो स्टूडेंट ऑफ द ईयर याद आ गया. नाउ सी, नाउ लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड. I will first show you the example, then we'll see the mathematics part of it. Again, the same example. So our friend Sarthak is into a project, and his requirement this time, Sarthak's requirement is he needs a resistance of 200 ohms. Okay, sorry, suppose he needs a resistance of 100 ohms. Sarthak को 100 ohms चाहिए. Again, बाजार बंद है, तो he comes to me and he says, सर 100 ओम का एक रजिस्टर दे दो सर. एक रजिस्टर में प्रोजेक्ट बन जाता है. अच्छा, 100 ओम्स तो नहीं है मेरे पास, तो मेरे पास क्या है, मैं उसको क्या देता हूं, 200 के 2 रेजिस्टेंस देता हूं, और मैं बोलता हूं बेटा घर में जा एंड इन दोनों रेजिस्टर्स को ऐसे कनेक्ट कर दे, ऐसे 200 और 200 ऐसे कनेक्ट कर दे, तो तेरा नेट रेजिस्टेंस जो है ना वो 100 हो जाएगा. तो ये क्या करता है घर में जाके, सर को तो विश्वास नहीं करता है, सो ही चेक्स 1 upon Req is equal to 1 by 200 plus 1 by 200, which is equal to 200 as the LCM, 1 plus 1, 2, which is equal to 100. So he finds 1 Req is equal to 1 by 100. That means Req should be equal to 100 ohms. So he's happy. He says, sir ने तो ठगा नहीं है. ये बहुत important है. If two resistors are of the same value, which means, see children, if you have a 1 ohm and a 1 ohm, if you have a 1 ohm resistor, sometimes somebody may ask you, what are the different combinations with which you can make, what are the different resistor values you can create out of this? I can create 1 ohm in series. If I put 1 ohm in series, what is the resistor I am getting? 2 ohms. And if I create 1 ohm parallel, then I am getting half ohm. ठीक है, ये दोनों हम बना सकते हैं. और एक चीज याद रखिए, that if you are using two resistors only, then Req is straight away Req. If we are using two resistors, then Req is R1 R2 divided by R1 plus R2. सर ये सब कहां से आ गया? 1 by Req is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2. अलजेब्रा इतना कच्चा है ना, ये ऊपर क्या हो जाएगा, R2 plus R1 हो जाएगा ना, which can be written as R1 plus R2. This is 1 by. Should I solve anything further than this? If you make R equal, this becomes, sorry, R1 R2. Just think, write this formula. This is very important. एग्जाम में आपको बहुत यूज में आएगा. If there are two resistors. अच्छा, did you understand this or I went too fast? Should I write it again? Don't worry ना. अरे बोला करो बच्चा, ऐसा क्यों? I have two resistors. I want to find their parallel equivalence. बोलो, have you understood this or not? What is the LCM of R1 and R2? So R1 R2 divided by R1 is how much? R2. Here it should be R2. Here it should be R1. But I'm n plus. will you give me the liberty to write just R1 plus R2? Addition is commutative, na? R2 plus R1 is same as R1. And this is what? This is 1 upon Req. So Req becomes equals to R1 R2 by R1 plus R2. This is a more shorter formula derived from the same parent formula. Very useful when we are working with two resistors. And see, if if R1 is equal to R2, नेहा ये भी देखो, which was my सार्थक वाला combination, R1 is equal to R2, तो ऊपर क्या हो जाएगा? R square, R1 R2 is equal to R square divided by 2R. R ने square को काटा, तो overall resistance is half the individual resistance. Now understanding? ये चैप्टर पढ़ाता हूँ ना, सिर्फ बचपन याद आता है मुझे. So nowadays we have digital multimeters. In those days, now अभी तो टीवी भी खराब नहीं होता ना, technology has improved. Those days टीवी खराब used to be very common. So like in our colony, आज शौर्य के लोगों का टीवी खराब है. How do we get to know? Shaurya's entire family comes and watches TV in our house. This used to be the protocol. जिसके घर में टीवी, because सबके घर में जाके तो हम सुनते थे. My only interest was when will the mechanic come to his house. The day the mechanic comes, I will finish my homework and go, and like a parrot, I'll sit beside the man. And then and there used to be one shop in these townships and all, one shop, so the mechanic gets to know everyone's house. Slowly, the mechanic also finds that कोई तो है जो मेरा काम को interest देता है, तो पहले सिखाता है. Now, when you start too much सीखना, then he feels you as a bugger. I'm bugging him. So कुछ भी पूछता हूँ ना, वो ऐसे बोला, ये ऐसा होता है, तुम जाओ, you go. So much was my Dennis the Menace factor. So multimeters were not digital those days, analog होते थे, कांटा वाला, and that meter scale used to have so many readings. I'm hardly in grade 6, 7. How do I understand all these things? So I used to go to these radio shops and sit beside the mechanic. तो समझाइए ना. There used to be scenarios like that. जाओ, अभी घर जाओ. Literally chase me away. अभी जाओ. फिर धीरे धीरे जब बाहर जाके even college engineering, and there comes a time, that's when we used to also become slowly aging or the adult. Then I used to see that same man, how people change in life. Now slowly my academic knowledge has increased over this guy. He's after all only a radio mechanic. अब मैं सीख गया हूँ. अब जब मैं इसके दुकान में जाता था ना बाद में, तो वो पूछा था, अच्छा ऐसा ये बना सकते हैं क्या? Then he used to say one word. बचपन में ना मेरे ही पास आके सीखता था, तब नहीं डांटते हैं. Then they feel very proud. In NDA what happens? The man who every day hits you with that whistle and makes you do parade and all, on the day of pass out he has to salute you. वो ऑफिसर नहीं होता है. When you get commission from NDA, you are a commissioned officer of the Indian military service. When you'll have your final steps, where you'll be parading and passing the final step, you are a commissioned officer. That day, the guy who has trained you throughout for last so many years will salute you. Oh, दुख के आंसू होते हैं, खुशी के. I have witnessed those with these mechanics. VCR, that technology you all have not seen. Have you, anyone of you seen a VCR? Okay, VCR में कैसेट होता था, and there used to be a tape on it. So first I used to think all the movie things are there. उसमें hero heroine दिखता है कि नहीं tape, because projection में तो ऐसे दिखता है ना. So when the VCR cassette goes inside, there is a guy in Alwar, a very oldie man. उसका Instagram reels आते रहता है. He has loads of VCRs. VCR में cassette जाते ही, when the cassette falls ना, that will be opened up. Chick chick, so many levers will come out and the whole film will be opened up. A VCR is like a gem of a mechanical device. And Japanese, ये छोटे छोटे screws, उसमें एक screw ढीला करोगे तो यहाँ ऋषि कपूर का सर हिल रहा है, ये सब होता था. ठीक है, इस करना आना चाहिए, then you will enjoy. चलो, so let's go and understand parallel connection. What are the advantages of parallel connection in? So I've already explained you that if you switch on bathroom, वही होता है. So in parallel connection supports one switch, one appliance control. This is very important. One switch, one appliance control, it will support. Then one appliance faulty has no impact on other appliances. ठीक है. थर्ड क्या हो गया? थर्ड है voltage across each appliance is same. वहां तो बात ऐसा है कि मरने से पहले मैं बाथरूम से शॉक लग के मरूं कि मैं किचन से मरूं, कहीं से भी करो मौत तुम्हारी उतनी होगी जहां से होनी है. ऑल द वोल्टेज इज सेम. ठीक है, voltage across each appliance is same. And fourth, overall resistance is less. Did you understand? Sarthak came with a requirement of what? 100 ohm. How many ohms resistor I gave him? 200 के दो दिए, 200 का दो दिया, लेकिन तुमने ऐसे कनेक्ट किया कि सर्किट का रेजिस्टेंस कितना हो गया? 100 हो गया, मतलब रेजिस्टेंस गिर गया ना. सो ओवरऑल रेजिस्टेंस, सर्किट रेजिस्टेंस being less, such circuits can be used to draw more current. तो ऐसे केस में कैसा हो गया? ऐसे केस में आपका जो अंदर का रेजिस्टेंस है वो थोड़ा सा रिलैक्स हो जाता है, मतलब इस आदमी को भी हार्ट अटैक नहीं होगा. फैट डिपॉजिट्स थोड़े से कम हो गए. ये फैट है ना, बात वही है, वहां फैट है, यहाँ रेजिस्टेंस है. स्टोरी सेम. The more fatty things you eat, the more resistance you are building in your artery. So the blood, like a current, cannot run. So the heart is your potential source, like a battery. It has to pump more hard. And one day it says, इस जन्म में बहुत कर लिया, बाकी अगले जन्म में करूंगा. Please, ड्यूरेसल खत्म हुआ और लाइफ रुक गया. क्या चीज समझ में नहीं आया बच्चा? बोलो. सब समझ में आया? एक स्विच से एक अप्लायंस. क्या घरों में आप ये सब चीजें चाहते हैं? हाँ. That's why एट डोमेस्टिक कनेक्शन में, डोमेस्टिक हाउस होल्ड वायरिंग में हम हमेशा पैरेलल कनेक्शन प्रेफर करते हैं, ताकि हम बाथरूम से बाथरूम की लाइट जलाएं, कॉलिंग बेल से कॉलिंग बेल की लाइट जलाएं. कॉलिंग बेल खराब हो तो सब चलता रहे. कॉलिंग बेल में जो वोल्टेज है वही हमारे माइक्रो में है, और पूरा सर्किट कम होने के कारण हम सबके रूम में एसीज वगैरह लगा सकते हैं, ज्यादा करंट हम खींच सकते हैं.
Are there not any disadvantages of
डिसएडवांटेज कुछ भी नहीं है. प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड, सीरीज ऑल्सो डज नॉट हैव डिसएडवांटेज. यू शुड सी फॉर वेयर यू आर अप्लाइंग इट. मूवीज आर नॉट बैड, बट दे आर नॉट एडवाइजेबल द नाइट बिफोर द एग्जाम. पैरेलल खराब नहीं है, सीरीज भी खराब नहीं है. द एंटायर क्रिसमस लाइट रन्स ऑन सीरीज कनेक्शन ओनली. देयर आई नीड series connection. I can't work on parallel. You have to see where you are applying what. Movies are not bad, but movies on a night before exam, generally not advised. You can still try it if you think your preparation is good. Yes.
But you said one that in college
हाँ, कॉलेज में तो यार पूरा चीज ही अलग होता है ना. न्यूक्लियर रिएक्शन है. ज्यादा पढ़ के गया, एक बार थर्मोडायनेमिक्स में 0 खाया पूरा. Because we used to get answer any 5 na out of 8 in test, 20 marks each. Numerical wrong means full wrong, and I was sure that I'm correct. जिस बाजू वाले को बताया उसको कम से कम 45 या 60 आया. I got a 0, and the teacher also made him don't study like that. I still remember her face. बाहर गया उस दिन, शायद क्या देखा था, हाँ वो there's a movie, I'm forgetting its name. This shot in London, Salman Khan and this Namrata Shirodkar, ये तुम्हारा महेश बाबू's वाइफ. सो हाँ, वो देखा और बैक टू बैक उसके बाद निकल के किसी थिएटर में, मोहरा पुराना हो चुका था पर दोबारा रवीना टंडन देखना था बोल के एक बार फिर जाके मोहरा देख के आया. एंड देन नेक्स्ट वीक टेस्ट हुआ, 100 में एकदम 100. सवाल ही पैदा नहीं होता है. इज्जत में लग गया ना 0 मिलना, मतलब. That too I remember, it was heat exchangers. Heat exchangers means आप मोटरसाइकिल यू सी ना, those radiator fins, उसमें heat exchanger के ऊपर प्रॉब्लम था, 0 आ गया था. ऐसा थोड़ी. आइए अब आते हैं the application of these problems into something called electrical circuit analysis. Okay, now whatever I'm going to teach or whatever you're going to do, there can be only 2 things. You may either like it or you'll either hate it. As simple as that. There cannot be halfway. Very interesting. Electrical circuit analysis. And in grade 12, there is continuation of this. When you study electrical engineering from second year, this is one subject, not chapter. This is one subject. और यहाँ पे बोलती बंद हो जाती है बच्चों की. मतलब they'll give you complex circuits and they'll ask you please find the equivalent resistance. So we'll do some simple today. आज simple करेंगे, ठीक है? मान लीजिए पहले आज न्यूमेरिकल नहीं करते, पहले जस्ट सोचते हैं कि कैसे कैलकुलेशन किया जाए. We'll not put any values today. आज तो मजा लेते हैं. R1, R2, R3, R4. They ask you, what is the equivalent resistance between A and B? Means all they are asking you is the face Zoe has made. It's making me laugh. You should see her face. Okay, from A and B, they're asking you if you had to put one resistance, इसकी value क्या हो? What is the value of this? Right. First, you see how the resistances are connected. Understood? Shall we try it? चलो try करते हैं. This is R1. R1 is having a ringer pattern with the Motu guy, and again the Motu guy is on a ringer pattern with this. But these two resistances are in what format? Parallel resistance. So can we find out what is the net resistance of R2 and R3? We can find out the net resistance of R2 and R3. Yeah, wait, मजा लो. R2 and R3 का net resistance कितना हो जाएगा? R2 R3 divided by R2 plus R3. This is one resistor. ठीक है? That means हमारे diagram से हमने इन दोनों resistor को क्या किया? Now there is where I miss my electronic board. हमने इन दोनों को गायब कर दिया और ये resistor को कटक करके यहाँ लिफ्ट कर सकते हैं ना? तो क्या मैं ऐसा ड्रॉ कर लूं? And I'm writing this value as R2 R3 divided by R2 plus R3, and let me call this resistance as R4 for simplicity, or say R5. Now how are the three resistances? Series. अब अगर मुझे A और B के बीच में एक रेजिस्टर लगाना है, then Bhuttikas, shouldn't it be R1 plus R5 plus R4? You understood? Equivalent resistance. एक और नेटवर्क देखें. ये सब नेटवर्क्स बोलते हैं. चलिए एक और नेटवर्क देखते हैं. ये तो आसान था. We'll do a lot of problems, but how to target? You have to simplify. आओ एक और टारगेट देखते हैं. ऑल इक्वल टू आर, ये भी बोल दिया. All are equal to R. R1 and R5 तो नहीं है ना बेटा. R1, R2, R3, R4. ये क्वेश्चन ओवर. हाँ, अब इसको कैसे सॉल्व? ये पजल है, सुडोकू पजल जैसा. इसका ओवरऑल रेजिस्टेंस बताइए. See, first of all, one thing. We learned about branching in carbon. Do you remember? माला ऐसा होता है, जानबूझ के ऐसे करके देगा. आप इसको ऐसे मत देखो, आप अपनी तरह ड्रॉ करो ना. क्यों आप खो जाते हो? मैं अपनी तरह ड्रॉ करूं. R1, R2, R1, R2. Have you understood this? Okay. This is R1 and this is R2. And यहां पे क्या है? Can the diagram not be thought like this? अब इससे क्या पता चल रहा है?
R1 and R2 are in series, and R4, R3 also in series, and R1, R2 take them as R5 and R4.
So here I can replace one resistor. I call it as R1 plus R2, and I can have another one resistor now at the bottom, which is 3 plus R4. R1 plus R2 is equal to 2R. This is also equal to 2R. Sorry, this is 2R. As I told, all are R. And now we are like this. 2R और 2R को अगर हम पैरेलल करेंगे तो कितना मिलेगा? है। आर आर में हाफ होता है, टू आर में आर होगा, सेम रेजिस्टर ना। बट if you are still not confident, you can do it on your own. So this will be equal to 2r into 2r divided by 2r plus 2r. So this is 2r 2r 4r square, 4r 4 cancel, so r. Final resistance is r. r को भी कितना घुमा के देते हैं। ये सब बहुत ही आसान सब कहे हो। अभी अगले क्लास में अभी देखो इसमें और सारा बिल्डअप कर सकते हैं। इसमें कैसे बिल्डअप कर सकते हैं अब आप खुद ही देखो। चिल्ड्रन आई एम गिविंग यू अ डेडली कॉम्बिनेशन, ऐसा और फिर एक ऐसा कर देगा आपको। सो फर्स्ट सॉल्व दिस, देन दिस, देन दिस, देन कंबाइन, देन गो अहेड। हाँ ऐसा एक क्वेश्चन तो आता है, ये तो आता है। नहीं इसमें कैसे रहता है आपका, ऐसे क्वेश्चंस आते हैं। अभी तो आप सिर्फ आर कर रहे हो ना। The questions will not come as R. They will give you R value, voltage, what is the current here they'll give you. Means you have to go to the level of V by I, V by I, V by I and then do. But we'll do a lot of practice, don't worry. You are here, हम पढ़ेंगे ना, पढ़ के जाएंगे, ठीक है? So don't worry.